Alright, so I'm back, and today we're going to go over the viewer responses from the last week's video of polishing turds. Now, before I get started in this, I just want to say, because I know I read some of the comments, and some of them seem a little heated. I'm not bashing anyone for their collection here. I know some people bash me. I don't know if it was this video or not. But anyway, I'm not bashing anybody for their collection. If you want to get the cheaper Devastator and that works for you, that's great. I was just bringing up a topic of like, are you okay with it? Are you okay with that plus the upgrades? Are you okay with, all the upgrades? Or are you okay, or are you like me and I just prefer to get the better figure or the overall better figure from the start, like the Generations thing, where it looks pretty good from the start, or maybe even the Toy World, because that thing's looking good. Man, that thing is looking so good. I was like, I'm not going to get it, I'm not going to get it, I'm not going to get it, and it's like, I'm looking at it, I'm like, I'm going to get this, and they're only $99. I'm going to get that, yeah. But anyway, this was not meant to be like an attack on anybody for your own collections. This was just a topic. And, because like I said, I mean, like the Fans Project upgrade kit with the Bruticus was an awesome set. And I loved it, and I still love it. It just doesn't hold up to today, and I'm not willing to put any more money into it at this point. Things like that. So yeah, not attacking anybody for your collection. Whatever you collect that makes you happy, that is all that matters. Who cares what anybody else says? Because that's all that matters at the end of the day. All right, so let's get started. Lionel Medina says, I think that at the end of the day, we really shouldn't need to upgrade our Transformers, period. Even though Hasbro has limited funding, he quoted that, there should be no excuse to even think about upgrades, unless for extra weapons. This is where I agree with you, but also slightly disagree with you, because, Classics Prime, I can't reach him. But Classics Prime, he came with an awesome gun and a really crappy gun, but neither one of them were G1 guns. And I never had an issue with either one of those guns. I think they look great. Somebody comes along and makes a better gun for it, and it's like, all right, that's better. I could understand Hasbro not wanting to do the trailer for Optimus Prime, because, that would be a lot more plastic, a lot more money, and then they would have to sell it for a lot more, and they might not sell as much. So it's like, I can understand those upgrades like that. And like when Hasbro first released the Bruticus figure, back in Energon, that was not meant to be Classics Bruticus. That was meant to be Energon Bruticus. Totally different character, different look, different design. That's why it looked that way. And then Popularity Revenge of the Fallen came out, and they're like, oh well, let's just repaint this and call it Bruticus. They did the same thing with Superion too. And then and the Constructicons, they all got reissued in more G1 colors. They're just kind of make a quick buck off of them. And then Fans Project came along and made the upgrade. So that's where it's like, oh yeah, we need that upgrade. But I understand where you're saying though, like, I think Combiner Wars Devastator, like Scrapper, should have came with elbows to begin with. I think the whole set should have come with guns to begin with. Things like that. That's where I agree with you. It's like, some things and it's all up to the person too. Who's buying the thing. Some people might say, oh, this needs an upgrade. Some people say, I don't want an upgrade. Hercules is another good example. I think the figure is great on its own, but some people prefer to have the treads up on the arms, so they have to buy that Rage of Hercules set. So it's a different upgrade kit for that. All right, moving on. We should be getting figures on the levels of Springer and Rat Trap. Figures that are worth what they're being sold for. Agreed. Even though I caved to get the Combiner Wars Devastator for less than retail price, I still feel I got ripped off because Metroplex costed much less, yet weighs more than twice the weight of Devastator. We're all forced to turn an already overpriced Titan class figure into something that looks half decent, and we shouldn't have to do that. I agree. We shouldn't. It should be just great off the bat. Um, uh, I'm content with mine, but I'm planning on getting only one of the upgrades for the hands and feet. Even though I'm all for what third parties are releasing, I still feel we shouldn't have to turn to them to fill in our collections with figures that Hasbro will most likely never release, such as the classic Dinobot. Agreed. Well, they're giving us the Age of Extinction Dinobots in Dinobot colors. We should be getting the most perfect representations of characters and figures that we want, not hollow, scarcely painted ones. We are all getting ripped off and being taken advantage of. And on top of that, the toy lines aren't getting as much love as they used to compared to the last few. I brought that point up a while ago, while I was ranting about probably Combiner Wars, and how I felt that they were really slacking off on this line, and that's when it dawned on me that this isn't their main line. This is a sub line. This is just side money. Their main line is the RID line, so that's where all their money's going. Just whatever extra they have is thrown over to Combiner Wars. That it's pretty obvious. Same thing happened with Universe 2.0 and Revenge of the Fallen, and Classics to the first Transformers movie. Classics was popular. Movie came out. Classics got canceled. Universe 2.0 came out. Got really popular. The next movie came out. Got canceled. Generations came out. Third movie came out, and you saw the Generations figures dip down drastically. And then Age of Extinction again replaced all the Generations figures, and it was Age of Extinction technically was in the Generations line for that one. I don't know. That makes sense, but yeah, like like when Prime's out, yeah, they still had Generations coming out, but there was more Prime figures on the shelf than there were Generations, because Generations was the sideline. So that's why they don't care too much about that. Takara is doing great, like they always do with their MP releases of Ironhide, Shockwaves, Trax, and Hot Rod, just to name a few. But I think that Hasbro is either being cheap and lazy, or stretching themselves too thin to serve the hardcore Transformers fan. I would say probably stretching themselves too thin. What do you think? Well, I just said that. Are you losing hope in Hasbro? Oh, it's gone. It's gone. I'm still buying their figures because I think they're fun toys, but they're not collectibles like they used to be. What do you think they should change so that we won't get the same trash and repaints? They would have to change what show is on TV. If they were to do a new G1 show, like with new, like an IDW design TV show for G1, and that was the popular show, then Generations would then become the main line, and then they'll be able to start making more new molds, give them more paint apps, maybe, but just more figures in general. That's I guarantee you that's what would happen, and that's the only way it's going to happen. We need an actual show, and not this Combined Wars thing that's going to be on YouTube or whatever. It's got to be a actual show on TV that kids get into, kids and parents. The downside to this is that we're going to go back into more gimmicky things, like half the plastic is used for a giant missile launcher or something like that. But that's really the only way I see it changing back in that direction. When do you know when to get third party or Hasbro Takara figures, or do you get both? I get whatever I can. Anything that looks good or even halfway decent, or anything I want to look at in my reviews. That's kind of, at the moment, that's kind of where my collection's kind of based off of, is what can I review, what would people want to watch, what would be interesting, because, if I spend all my money on buying a bunch of figures from the past that I would like to catch up on, and I throw up the reviews, people are gonna be like, well, you already did that 3 times or whatever, and so that's boring to you. And then I'd have stretches without videos. I pretty much owned almost every single Transformer official that there's been, with the exception of the RAD line. I couldn't buy any of those, but I've bought in all of them before, so I know almost everything. Or I've physically held almost everything. So, yeah, I just kind of get whatever I want, whenever I want. Jeff Pern says, had to pause the video and look up the Fans Project Colossus upgrades, since mine is good as is. You must be referring to Shadow Fisher set. Yes. I thought I said it, but maybe I didn't. I don't know. So if I didn't, I'm sorry. I meant to. I like the tank turret on Brawl and the chest wing, but that's it. The chest wing in light gray makes him look like Energon Faptimus Prime. But in dark gray, looks kind of good. But I do not like the scale. It's pictured as being a little bigger than Green Giant. Green Giant has one more figure and is supposed to be the muscle. So hence, he's bigger. Colossus is brawn and firepower. If you upgrade him with the new set, he'll no longer be in scale with Energon Devi or Energon Superion. Now, what I always like to have Devastator a little taller than the rest of the combiners, but the big thing that you have to remember is all the Devastator components back in the day were the same size as the limbs of the other guys. So the core bot of the other one, of like Bruticus, for example, was twice the size of everybody else. So theoretically, Devastator would still be a little bit bigger, but not by much. Depends on how you want to phrase it. If you're looking at toy scale accuracy from back in the day, but they were all about the same size, except for Predicate. He was huge. So, depends on how you want to look at it. If you're talking, but then, that's a scale thing. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to scale today. Replay will start out as a replacement for those figures we bought that either were missing or had worn out stickers. But these third-party figures clearly have spots designed for sticker placement. Why not include their own, or at least strike a deal with Repro to include the sheets of theirs? I agree. At least some factions logos or something like that. But Repro labels, I'm not a fan of Repro labels at the moment. Their stuff just does not want to stay on. I keep buying the faction logos, and that's all I'm getting at this point. I spent all these hours putting them on certain figures, and just to watch the stickers peel within a week, and it's like, I did everything right. I cleaned the part, made sure it was nice and dry, put it on there, rubbed it in with a Q-tip or what have you, and then it still peels off. And it's like, fuck that. I ain't spending $30 on stickers that are going to fall off tomorrow. First off, the figure should have been painted if that's such a necessary thing. Half the stickers they do is not necessary. Mostly it's the faction logos, but you can just buy sheets of faction logos and you're good. Anyway, moving on. As for upgrades, a figure should be able to stand alone on its own merits. Agreed. An upgrade should be that extra touch to improve the overall look, not a fix. Agreed. Fans Project Ultra Magnus is an upgrade, while Colossus is somewhat of a fix. Energon Bruticus was fine by himself, but with the upgrades made him better. Combiner Wars Devi needs fixes and falls into this category. And I just can't buy him because of it. That's a good move. Been watching other people's reviews on this guy, most recently Bobby Skullface's videos, and I was looking to buy Takara version, but now I don't think I'll buy either one. LOL. You'll like this. Beast Wars must be the perfect line. I have yet to see an upgrade or fix for a single figure. Somebody please prove me wrong. I want to be in the category of Fans Project Ultra Magnus again. There was an upgrade kit for Transmetal Megatron by Unicron.com. It replaced his pincher claws on the end of his tail with the data disc reader, and it came with the disc that you can put in there and it would spin. I think it came with something else too, but I can't remember on that. But I know it came with that. I wanted to buy it so bad, but I just did not have the money at the time. And then it sold out, and then when it came back, it was like $90, and I'm like, I am not spending $90 on a disc, and I didn't have Megatron at the time. So there was at least one upgrade I can think of off the top of my head. Seeing Funny John, hey, who's the idiot that made it not 900 anymore? Let's get him. I think he means my subscribers, which I think we're at 909 now, or something around there. Matthias Morkabus. I always have a hard time saying your name. You should change that to Dave. We'll call you Dave. All right, Dave. Since I hate most aesthetics of third-party combiners, and I don't know, I don't actually remember if I know your real name or not. So I'm just pulling a name out of my head. So just to say. Since I hate most aesthetics of third-party combiners, except for Mastermind Creation and Unique Toys Predaking and Unique Toys Abominus, but you're right. Fans Project Minosaur is the best combined version. I got the San Diego Comic-Con version of Devastator, still tucked away in its box, but I will get the Unite version as well, so I can display it however I choose, given its size and space availability, if I can. You're not going to like it. Six-shot changer reviews. Good points. This is why I just wait for the better third-party sets to avoid wasting polish or glitter on those turds. Yeah, that's what I'm waiting for. You know, that's why I kind of dropped out of the Unique Toys Abominus, because I wanted to see the final product before I spent $500 on the thing, and then I kind of wanted to. And I didn't want to buy any of the Computron. Well, quite frankly, it's like I want it for the collection, but I really don't want Computron because I don't like Computron. So that's why I was a little disappointed when Combine Wars said they're not doing it, because it's like $90 for Computron. Sweet, I'll get it and throw it on my shelf, and that'll be my Computron forever. I don't want a Computron. I don't want to spend $400 or $500 on a Computron. To me, it's not worth it. Regardless of how good the figures are, just the characters were never in my top 10 favorite anything. Retro Robot Radio says, I just look at Hasbro toys as skeletons to hang my third-party upgrades on. Oh, man. Okay. Yeah, sometimes those upgrades are pretty cool. I know that I don't remember. There's two different people doing it, but they're upgrading the Combiner Wars Prime, so he's almost a leader class figure now. And he looks more like IDW Prime. He looks like a new version of Orion, and the set's like $50. I mean, I was like, all right, maybe I'll pick that up, take a look at that. That looks kind of cool, but at the same time, I kind of didn't want my Prime to be a leader class size. Because of that scale, why not just get MP10? It's a superior figure and it comes with a trailer. Just saying. If you're getting that big of a figure, you might as well go the distance. But anyway. TFY You Smokey 102. A few things I do. Or a few things. One, do you think you'll run out of Transformer topics on Rant of the Week? Never. There's always something to complain about or something to rave about. And not to mention, I could do movies, the Transformers movies. I can do individual episodes. I for my Rant of the Week tomorrow that I was going to do, I almost was going to do a detailed review of the worst episode of all time, being Chaos in C minor. But then something else happened, and I'm going to be doing another Rant of the Week about something that you'll see tomorrow. So no, I'll never run out of ideas. And I can always pull up old ideas, too. Old rants that I did, and just see if my opinions changed since then. And now that we're doing this kind of back and forth, that could also be, a continuation too. It's like, okay, well, let's go back to some of the older ones so that we can do this discussion topic as opposed to, me just posting and responding to everyone I can. 2, just a suggestion for a rant of the week. What do you think of the Transformers community, like fans, reviews, etc.? I actually did a rant of the week about us, the collectors, and how I felt at certain times we're our own worst enemies. So check that one out, and then if you suggest it, maybe I'll do a re-rant of that, and we'll go from there. 3. Even if I could upgrade Transformers, I don't think I would most likely. I don't think I would. Mostly talking about Reaper labels. Yeah, Reaper labels. I'm not trying to bash the company, but seriously, their stickers have gone downhill. I mean, I was in Reaper labels years and years ago, and I bought it for every single thing I had. Every set that they were coming out with, I was like, hell yeah, I want it. And they were awesome back then. And they're only like $4, for a sheet. So I spend like $50, $60, $100 on stickers and just spend like 2 days just sitting there, with a big smile on my face. I got a G1 cartoon playing in the background. I got my toys on the floor, and I'm just sitting there putting stickers on them, and I had so much fun. But then lately, their stickers just haven't been holding. Hangman X. Problem is your argument totally left out MPG1 Toon collectors who buy MP scale Transformer figures based on Toon visual accuracy aesthetics. So from that point, Combine Wars Devastator, even the Unite Warriors version, is a budget set as the only other decent semi-accurate MP scale Devi currently. The Toy World set that is just revealed, which will most likely retail at $150 or more per bot. It's $100 per bot actually. Pushing a $900 price tag for all 6 of the bots for that set. So my big question to you on that topic is, I deliberately left out the Masterpiece collections from the rant because, aside from a few unnecessary upgrades, like KFC doing the posable hands here and there, which, those are awesome. They're cool little sets. I like them. I'm not going to buy them because I don't like the posable fingers unless they're individually pinned, not just friction joints or those little tab joints. They have to be pinned in for me to actually like individually posed fingers. Anyway, there's not really much upgrading that needs to be done with Masterpiece. So when I'm talking about like the Devastator, it's like, yeah, he might be cool for some people, but and some people might be okay with that scale with their Masterpiece figures. I don't see it though. I cannot see it. It's not me saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying I literally cannot see putting that piece of shit in with my Masterpiece figures. Because those individual figures are garbage for the most part. Some of them look alright, but none of them have good arms. They're just not polished. They're not detailed enough. There's nothing about them that makes me sit there and say, oh, that's a Masterpiece figure, aside from your size. And at that point, you might as well go ahead and get some of those knockoff KOs, or those KOs of the oversized classics figures, and throw those in your Masterpiece collection, because that's the same quality of plastic for one. Trust me, I've had them. They're actually more durable than the Devastator is. And that's sad. Like I had Sea Spray, I think it was. And while he wasn't a great figure, I mean, I chucked that thing against the wall hard, and it did not break at all. And ball joints didn't pop off or anything. When I do the actual Devastator review, you'll see what I'm talking about, because all I did was untab something and But my point is that if you're just going for size, then what's the point of a masterpiece collection? Because masterpiece, in my opinion, is a masterpiece. They're supposed to be the best of the best. And if they're not the best, then what's the point? Like I said, you might as well get some of those knockoffs, because I know, like, you can get the trail cutter, you can get hoist, you can get those things oversized, and power sea spray was oversized, and he was about, I'd say he was about right scale. I would say. You can also get the oversized reflector instead of getting the KFC reflector. That was like $10. Horrible colors, but you can always repaint those. Anyway, I'm not trying to attack you. I'm just saying that's why I didn't really go into the masterpiece, and why I know some people like it in the masterpiece scale, and that's great for you, but I personally cannot understand that. I can't. It's beyond me. I will have a hard time, like, putting that in a classics collection, because it's not up to par. And I think that's a big problem with a lot of people with this Devastator. They're just happy to get this big Devastator. And I think they really need to take a step back and really look at it objectively and sit there and be like, is this really a good figure for my collection? Does this really fit? Or is this just a big green blob? Anyway, moving on. Nick Sandwich Games. If I have a base figure or set of figures combiner, I have a rule. I set myself that if the upgrade kit doubles the price of the original figure, I'm not going to get them, and that saved me a lot of money in the long run. Sure, I don't have the best the figure can be, but I'm happy with them. I have the Combine Wars Devastator and plan on getting the kit for the arms. But that's the only kit I'm getting, because I am keeping them all in their separate bot modes. That rule I've set for myself has been very helpful. All the Perfect Effect kits for Combine Wars combiners have been nice, and I'm very happy with them. I may be retiring the old Fans Project Brutus kits, though, now that I've seen the Combine Wars Brutus kits in hand. That will always be a special figure for a lot of people. It started this market, and it will always be a great set. I think we should do like an award, and just like award the Fans Project Bruticus as being the like a Hall of Fame. Our own Hall of Fame rather than the Transformer Hall of Fame. Let's do third party Hall of Fame. Adam Ung says, planning to get the better version of Devi Jin Toy. Yes, I am most definitely going to be getting that set. I don't know when, but I will definitely be getting that set. Hopefully, because I'm going to TFCon in a couple weeks. It's a couple weeks away. So maybe they'll have it there. And okay, Get Loose says, chiming in on your point about Classics Prime. I look at the trailer as an awesome accessory rather than an add-on to the base figure. You don't need it, but damn, you love the figure, so shelling out some cash to add more value, cool. Yes, Masterpiece is awesome, love it, but when I'm playing with my kids, I'm not trying to spend 10 minutes on transformation. Masterpiece is a work of art. Classics is I fiddle and play with and just have fun with. Combine Wars Minosaur is an example of polishing a turd, to your point. I never said that. I was just using that as an example. That was Classics Prime is not a turd. There's a reason why I have two Classics Prime and the trailer. So yeah, it's that's what I want. I liked it, and it was a good toy. It's a fun toy. It's a great Classics Prime. I like that better than Orion, hands down. But I'm just saying, it's like if you're the collector that's trying to find the best representation of a character, then at what point do you stop and just be like, you know what? I'm just gonna shell out the big bucks. B2 Buck 74 Hasbro Devastator 140 $145 shipped. Depends on where you get it. Because like Toys R Us is $169 right now, or $160, something like that. Perfect Effect kits are 32, not 30, and 60. I think one of them's 60, but yeah, they're like 32 to 35 depending on the set. Reaper Label's 32. You don't need the Doctor Wu figure if you get the Perfect Effect kit. Not true. If you're wanting to get a better Mixmaster, because that Mixmaster is garbage, then you have to get the Doctor Wu set. But the Perfect Effect set upgrades more than just the shell for the Mixmaster for the foot. So if you want a better Mixmaster, you have to buy the Doctor Wu one. If you just want the cover, then Perfect Effect. But either way, you'll have to buy both in order to get all the Perfect Effect parts that come with the set. So you do have to get both. You don't have to. You don't have to buy anything for the set if you don't want to. I was just using that. If you wanted it fully upgraded, that's what you have to do. Dr. Wu just released prototype images of hooks, a new hook crane. There's a piece that you don't need to buy if you have the Perfect Effect, because Perfect Effect already covers that. Moving on. If you get the, let's see, you don't need the Doctor Wu figure if you get the Perfect Effect kit, $260, not $330. One could argue that Takara Devi could benefit from at least the $60 Perfect Effect kit, and Reaper Label's putting it at $219 plus 60 plus 32, $310. It really depends on what you're going for. I was just using that as an example of like how much you could put into it without buying the same kit twice, and that's what I came up with. So anyway, co-box it. Me thinking things through actually stopped me from buying in on the Fans Project Superion. Sure, the base bot can cost as little as $40, but then I would have to get the Fans Project upgrade KO kits $50-$60, the DMY add-on $35, and the Chroma Hands upgrade $66, not counting the cost of the paint. At this point, the Combiner Wars period was out, and while not looking necessarily as good, the price was so much cheaper, so I've committed to that one instead. I will argue your point there that I think the Combiner Wars Superion is better. Sure, it's using two repaints in one and two retools of each other. I still think overall it still looks better than the Energon one, which was like just two straight repaints and two straight repaints, and really really bad silver bolt for the core. Anyway, and all I really needed for this one was better hip ratchets and hard antenna. $18 with shipping. Much better than dropping nearly 3 times as much as the actual toy in cost. Everything else after that is window dressing for later. Not really a fan of the Perfect Effect hands and feet. I'm not sure when the no NIF hands and feet will come out. Once they do, they'll be my go-to for combiners, officials, and custom. A lot of people were telling me to check him out, but there's nothing available on his website. I checked his Facebook page, and there hasn't been an update on his Facebook page for months, so I don't know. Chris Ugg 74. Yeah, my first third-party figures also. It was amazing. The Swindle and Blastoff figures were so good as standalone figures. I bought the repaints just so I could have a Swindle and Blastoff. I did too. I had the Energon Bruticus Maximus set though. Couldn't get the Revenge of the Fallen set. Do a review on these guys now. No, because I've already reviewed the set. I did the reissue set. I did the original set. I did my own Ruination set. And I did a re-review on one of the sets, I think. So I've reviewed them at least 3 or 4 times. So just check some of the older videos. They're there. BT Buck 74 also buying a figure for 145. Then a month later paying 32 for labels. Then a month later, and then 2 months later paying 60 and 30 or both is a lot easier pill to swallow for a lot of people than 350 plus in one shot. Now that depends on what set you buy. For example, if you buy the Generation set, you can buy $100 every month or two. Just here and there. Stretch it out longer. That's why they don't release the entire set all at once. Make Toys does it, and those things shelf warm because of that. No, Giant didn't, but their Computron's still sitting there. So yeah, it depends on what set you're getting and how you want to buy them. But having a complete figure that looks incomplete for 3 or 4 or 5 months, I think that's worse than just having a really good representation of each character here and there. I don't know. Tulula says, honestly, I'd probably be happy with a Unite Warriors Devastator without any upgrades. I don't really care much for Reaper labels and such. Upgrade kits as well, unless it has something as important as a Fans Project Brooder kit. And to be honest, Uranus is not that much better with the wing set. I actually kind of like the way the drone chest looks. I just wish it wasn't such a floppy piece of shit. That's why I hate it. It looks okay, but I don't like it at all in any other way, shape, or form because it's completely unfunctioning. Anyway, let's see, where was I? I really need to buy another Energon Barricade, aka Energon Onslaught. My left combiner port broke, so my Finance Project set is in its box as of the moment. I really like it though, but only as an Action Master really. Taking them apart and combining them is a pain in the ass. There's just so many little pieces and junk hanging around, but I can't really think of anything they could have done better. It's a complete badass combined though. And wow, I just looked at the Shadow Fisher upgrade kit. And more like Faticus than Bruticus. What a piece of shit. I agree. That thing looks chunky. Wow. And that was it. But yeah, what was it? I'm going to say there. As far as the Energon Bruticus goes, I actually had the same thing happen to one of mine. The port just shattered. So I ended up buying a barricade for cheap on eBay because the Energon barricades are cheap. They're like $10 loose. And then just take off, depending on what part broke. If it's like mine broke on one of the hands because he's got the ports that come like right here or something like that. I can't remember exactly at the moment. I think it comes out of his forearm. Yeah, pretty sure because it like folds up like this. Anyway, mine broke, so I just flipped the arms out, and it was actually the barricade had black arms instead of the steel, and I think the black actually looked better for the combiner gimmick. That's what I did to one of mine. Or you just take the barricade and replace the whole core body. But yeah, that's it for the rant of the week. Again, I'm not really trying to attack anybody. I just, like I said, I mean, the only one I really got heated on here was that they want to put the Devastator in the Masterpiece collection. I can't see it. I just can't see it, and that maybe that's my fault, my flaw. But I just, no. Definitely, it looks like that Toy World one's going to be twice the size of their Grimlock one, which is about the same, in par with the TFC combiner. So it's going to be a little bit bigger than the Devastator, the Combiner Wars one, and probably a lot heavier and with a lot more detail. But then again, it is Toy World. Those guys, for me, the track record with Toy World is 50-50. Half the stuff they make is awesome, half the stuff they make is shit. There's a reason why I didn't complete the Throttle Bots, because I was not having fun with some of those. Anyway, I guess that's it. I'll see you guys tomorrow for a rant of the week.